Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now today I'm taking a look at this. It's the Isuzu D-Max. Now in the past the Isuzu D-Max was very much a rough and ready pickup, but now Isuzu is aiming for the lifestyle part of the market. So this car's got the likes of the Ford Ranger in its sights. Now for the past 20 years or so, lifestyle pickups have been very popular here in the UK. And that's because of low company car rates. Because during the week, you could use this as a commercial vehicle, therefore taking advantage of low company car rates. But during the weekends, they were plush enough to act as a family SUV. However, over the past year or so, the number of pickups that have been offered in the UK has dwindled, with the likes of the Nissan Navara, the Mitsubishi L200, the Mercedes X-Class and the Volkswagen Amarok all disappearing from sale. So Isuzu thinks they've got a real opportunity here to make some real waves in this part of the market with a far more family-friendly D-Max offering for 2021. Well, let's find out whether they've actually succeeded or not. But before we dive into this review, I'm going to give you a full walk around of the exterior, the interior, and I'm going to take this car for a drive. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you've got any questions, then drop them in the comments box below. So here it is then, the new Isuzu D-Max, and it's a lot more aggressive looking than the previous model. This front face looks particularly good. This big chrome grille, we've got LED headlamps with LED day running lights as well, and it's got a lot of presence, has the new D-Max. Now for the lifestyle models, or all-purpose as Isuzu tends to call them, there are three different models on offer. There's the DL20, the DL40 like we've got here, and the range-topping V-Cross. Now the DL20 comes in extended and double cab versions, while the DL40 like this one and the V-Cross only come as a double cab variant. Now the D-Max is taking on some pretty established competition in this market. There's the SsangYong Musso, there's the Ford Ranger, which is the best-selling pickup in the UK. Last year they sold around 13,000 of those, and of course there's the mighty Toyota Hilux. But the D-Max, I mean, it's got a strong suite of, well, positives actually. We'll dive more into those a little bit later on, but to start off with, the D-Max comes in a lot of variations, which is what you need in this part of the market. Now there's the double cab version, which we've got here. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out why, because there's 4 doors. But there's also the extended cab version available on the DL20, which includes a pair of doors here at the front, and at the back there's just a pane, just a window here with 2 flip down seats in the back. But the extended cab version allows you to have a longer load bed. Let's talk about that load bed, because it is a pickup after all. The first thing to note is that there's a step here built into the bumper, so you can climb on it and reach those hard to reach items, which is really nice. And on this DL40 you get, look at this, a damped rear tailgate. It doesn't flop down like you'd expect it to in a pickup now, does it? Now in terms of measurements, the extended cab version is the one to go for if you want the maximum space and payload. The length of that load bed is 1805 millimeters, but here, let's face it, more people are going to be going for a double cab because of the flexibility in having those rear seats back there and the extra pair of rear doors. You still get a very competitive 1495 millimeters of load bed space. In terms of width, well, it's wide enough for a Euro pallet, but if you really want to know, it's 1530 millimeters and it's 490 millimeters deep as well. Along with proudly shouting about the fact that this is an Isuzu, the load bed is also fully lined, and there are lash down points, 2 on either side. There's one at the far end there as well, and another down here as well. So there's loads of places to store, to lash down items in the load bed. Now, not only is there a difference in terms of the size, if you go for the extended cab or the double cab, but there is a difference in payload. Now, the extended cab, that gets a payload of 1,148 kilograms, whereas the double cab is 1,120. Now, no matter which version of the D-Max you go for, the trailer weight braked weighting is 3,500 kilograms, and then 750 kilograms for unbraked. And the gross train weight is 6,000 kilograms. Now, we'll talk more about the four-wheel drive system when we take the D-Max out on the road. The only thing I want to mention here are some of the facts and figures. So the approach angle is 31 degrees and the departure angle is 24 degrees. And this car also comes with a very competitive 800mm wading depth. Now let's take a look in the back. Now, this double cab version, you can easily fit 3 adults back here, and the D-Max actually has an advantage over the Ford Ranger. The Ranger has a very flat rear bench, whereas the D-Max is a lot more sculpted, so there's a lot more support and comfort for whoever sits back here. There's an armrest with a couple of cup holders. On this particular car, we've got vents at the back here, and we've got a USB charging port as well. But there's a really interesting feature. On the back of the seat, there's a little curry hook, and what you'll notice, the writing on it is max 4 kilograms. So you can actually carry something on there up to has a weight of up to 4 kilograms. So that is very, very sturdy indeed. And just like most other pickups, you can fold these back seats down, and then when you do that, there's a little place there for your toolkit. But apart from that, there is no other storage back there. But like I say, that's the situation with most pickups. And yeah, you can easily fit 6-footers up here because of that square roofline. There's even grab handles here should you need help climbing up. But yeah, it's nicely finished. Electric windows as well, really nicely finished, nice materials, and that's a theme we shall pick up in the front. The inside is another area where the current D-Max really improves on previous Isuzu pickups because it's very, very impressive. In fact, I think this has got one of the nicest interiors of the pickup class. It's easily ranks alongside the SsangYong Musso for plushness in here. This DL40 version gets a lovely soft touch dashboard with this stitching. Everything feels really nicely put together, and it's actually very, very surprising. I mean, if you're familiar with previous Isuzu D-Max pickups or Isuzu pickups, they feel very workmanlike. And whilst there are more workmanlike versions of the new D-Max, for the lifestyle market, this is very impressive indeed. Now, the DL40 version, like we've got here, gets a 7-inch touchscreen. The V-Cross gets a 9-inch touchscreen. This is an area where this car, it does fall down a little bit, really, because it's not the best system in the world, really. It's just all feels a little bit clunky to use. It's very quick to respond, but as you can see, sorry about the reflections in the screen there, the graphics aren't very good, and no matter which version of D-Max you go for, you do not get sat-nav. Luckily, you do get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you can bypass a lot of the infotainment system. Now, down here, you've got your controls for 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive low. You've got charging ports here as well. You've got heated seats on this particular DL40 version. You've got a locking rear diff as well. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. There's hill descent control, and the gear lever is even illuminated. You can see it there, which is quite a nice touch. In front of the driver, you've got a very clear display, little colour LCD display there, and really nice leather wrapped steering wheel with all your major controls on it as well. Plenty of storage in here, enormous door bins. You can easily fit, well, a 2-litre bottle of water in there, no problems whatsoever. In terms of cubbies, well, you've got a very strange one down here. Not quite sure what you'd put in there, but it's still nice. This is a nice feature. You've got a little cup holder that pops out. And then you've got a space up here for a couple of documents, perhaps. And then you've got 2 glove boxes. You've got this one here, which is, well, it's totally taken up with the handbook there, but you've got this secondary one here, which is quite nice, if you wanted to store a few secret items, I suppose. And then in the centre, you've got 2 very deep cup holders, or you can store other things in there. A little space there for your mobile phone, and then there's a big chunky armrest with a little bit more storage in there as well. Now, the lifestyle pickup market has been a big thing in the UK for around the last 2 decades. And the level of choice on offer in this part of the market over the past few years has been pretty much endless. There's the Mitsubishi L200, the Nissan Navara, the Volkswagen Amarok, the Mercedes-Benz X-Class, the Fiat Fallback, and of course the Isuzu D-Max. Now, the D-Max has always felt sort of the lost child amongst all of those. The other ones were more glamorous, but the D-Max was always the one that didn't have the love that it so badly craved. That could well change from 2021 onwards, partly because some of those pickups are now no longer on sale in the UK, but the main reason is that this D-Max is actually pretty damn good. Now, Isuzu have big targets for this car. They sold around 3,000 cars in 2020, and they want to shift around 10,000 in the UK by 2025. And they want around 65% of D-Max sales to be of the all-purpose adventure model, so the lifestyle versions of the D-Max. And the DL40 is going to account for quite a lot of those sales, and I have to say, I'm pretty impressed. Now, no matter which version of the D-Max you go for, they all come with the same engine, a 162 brake horsepower, 1.9 litre diesel engine. It might sound small, but it's more than adequate for the job. Now, it might have enough power to actually pull a 3,500 kilogram brake trailer, but what it hasn't got enough of is refinement. Now, this is one hell of a noisy diesel engine. Just listen to it. And the weird thing about it is you're driving along and then all of a sudden you hear this weird gargle as though it's just clearing its throat. Now, if you like your diesel engines to be noisy, then you will like this 1.9. Unfortunately, engines in the Ford Ranger, the SsangYong Musso and the Toyota Hilux are all far more refined. Whilst it may be a little bit noisy, it is more than up to the job. I mean, at high speeds, it does tend to sort of run out a little bit of puff, but at low speeds and at normal driving speeds, it is absolutely fine. There's the choice of 2 gearboxes, a manual and a 6-speed automatic like we've got here. It's fine. It's a little bit hesitant at times, but for the most part, it's more than adequate. Now, Isuzu has spent a lot of time on improving the suspension on this generation of the D-Max, and for the most part it has worked. However, you can tell that they have, he says as he goes over a humpback bridge, they have done a lot of work on it. However, you can tell that this suspension setup is geared for carrying heavy loads or towing heavy loads, because when you drive this pickup unladen with nothing in the back, like I am now, when you hit a pothole it tends to bang and judder and vibrate over it. A Ford Ranger is a lot more comfortable. Now, to drive, it's pretty nice actually. The steering could do with a little bit more feel to it, but it's nicely accurate. And it's got a fantastic turning circle as this car. Now, it's not just the turning circle that's impressive, but also this car's off-road credentials. Now, you expect a pickup to be good off-road, don't you? But this one, I mean, Isuzu have really thrown the kitchen sink when it comes to off-road driving. Now, the level of axle articulation on the D-Max is very impressive, more so than some of this car's rivals. And there's a locking rear diff on DL20 models and above, and you need that locking rear diff to really make the most of its off-road traction. Now, whilst the driving experience might be a bit of a mixed bag, you cannot fault its safety credentials. Now, for the moment, this is the only pickup to have a full NCAP 5-star safety rating. And that's thanks to the level of safety equipment that comes as standard on the D-Max. It's also pretty well priced as well. Now, prices start at around £26,000 for the entry-level one, excluding VAT, of course, and rising all the way up to around £31,000 for the V-Cross double cab, again, excluding VAT. And that makes the pricing of this pickup very, very competitive indeed. That means the D-Max really does undercut most of its rivals. And when you throw in the strong safety rating, the plush interior, its fantastic off-road ability, the D-Max very much is worth a proper look at.